Hey everybody, welcome back. Alright, so here's what happened. I recorded this whole episode with my microphone off. So rather than leave it as like an ASMR episode with nothing but the game audio, I'm actually going through and voicing over it here. So if the audio is a bit different for the commentary on this video, I apologize. So basically what had happened here is I checked on Darren to see how he was doing, and he was a little hurt, but nothing terrible. So we had another skeleton here, and I wanted to try using the barrier to knock the enemy down by, this was a suggestion from a comment, that basically you turn to the side, activate the barrier, and then turn to face the enemy. And the turning motion will knock the enemy over. So that's what I'm trying right here. Of course, I did not do it very well, but we still knocked the skeleton over. And then, of course, I fell over. Darren's out there giving his level best. Actually, I think he got a couple of hits, too. He did some good parrying with his shield. I guess that's not a parry, but he was trying, if nothing else. So, as I mentioned in a previous video, I'm trying to get Darren more combat experience so that he will become a better fighter. And we've been doing a decent job of that. Sometimes I can't help myself, though. I just have to rush in and do all the fighting myself because, well, I don't trust Darren. But I keep getting reports from viewers that in their own games, especially later on, Darren can turn into quite the beast. And I know this is true. It's happened in the past, but it's just so hard to get Darren to that point because you have the risk of him attacking you all the time. Anyway, here we go trying to knock a guy down with the barrier again. Again, I messed it up. We still knocked him down, but it's okay. Nice overhead to the skull, my favorite attack. Alright, I believe I tried again here. Yep, with the barrier. Didn't work again because I did it incorrectly again. I still have not done it correctly. But the overheads are savage. And here we started to learn Maneuvering in Armor 2 because our encumbrance is crazy. And we're still learning this spell here. This will, once we learn that, it will reveal another one further up that tree. And so we're learning, or we had just learned Continuity 2, so like we have two bindings at once, and now we switched, as I said, to Maneuvering in Armor 2. Alright, I believe I tried the bolt here. Yeah. Nice headshot. And I'm kind of surprised. I didn't think that you'd be able to get to them from across the room very often before they get up. But I've been able to get up to the enemy like I did right there, even after bolting them from pretty far away. Now that was completely intentional. Just an expert tactic there. No, it wasn't, obviously. But that worked out. So now we've got to go grab the See in the Dark helmet. So we double-click the stone that's protruding. That reveals this secret alcove. And there is the helmet in all its glory. Darren already has a good helmet, so I just put that away and decide to switch to that two-handed sword. Because as you can see now, we can see things even without the torch. It's a wonderful thing. Alright, so now we're going through this area to look for two different boxes that I'm aware of. I believe it was two. We had a little trouble getting past that table there. As always, we're opening chests even when we know there's no chance of there being good loot, because we want that global XP for exploration. So I checked that corner because I couldn't remember if something was over there. Now we go into this closet type of space where that second boxes. And of course Darren stands in the doorway just staring at me like an idiot. And I don't want to push past him because it might make him angry, but I end up losing my patience, and I do it anyway. The good news is he does not take a hostile stance. Everything appears to be cool. Okay, so as we explore further, I think right here I heard some commotion. No, that wasn't this hallway. I just gave you a little preview of something coming up. But we find this two-handed warhammer. And it looks pretty decent. I consider taking it for myself. But then I think, you know what, why don't we give this to Darren and just see what he can do with it? And so that's what we'll do. And in here, of course, we just continue checking drawers, boxes, things of that nature. Now, it had been pointed out that I keep forgetting to look at the coats and look at their stats. I usually pass them up just because I'm impatient. But they're a good replacement for your tunic when you find a decent coat. So right here I was searching specifically for a coat because you usually find at least one in here. But the one we found, of course, was not great. Yeah, someone had reminded me in a comment, I think in the last video, about that specific thing. Alright, so we go with this guy with the traditional overhead attacks. No reason to spend our focus. Now this area has many different rooms to explore. Most, if not all of them, have, well, nothing of value. But again, explore and open those chests anyway. Get that global XP so you can unlock, or I guess I should say, so you can learn more skills, more thaumaturgy as well. It's not to say that you'll never find anything good. For example, like here's a real nice set of cloth leggings. So we go ahead and put those on Darren, and we even find some better combo gloves and vambraces, and then we find a coat. So you saw me replace the tunic with the coat there. So we've got several layers on at this point. Alright, we take the top off of that box, search through there. Alright, so this is what happens here is I get tired of Darren always being in the doorway when I turn around, and I find another coat which we'll save for Darren. But every time I go in one of these rooms, Darren follows me in, but he steps right into the threshold of the door and just stands there staring at me. So I was like, you know what, let's just have him wait in the room here, the central hub, and do this. And then by this time I had grown impatient already. And I said, you know what, let's just have him follow us, because this room is not that shallow. We don't find anything as we search. And that about wraps it up for this area. And then I go in here thinking that this was another room, which is this one right up here on the left. Quite common that I get confused. So there's another area with a similar thing going on with a bunch of little rooms off to the side. But we also have company in here. So we bolt him in the face. And again, I can get up to him for an attack before he's able to get back on his feet. So, I don't know, what I had said about Bolt in I think, the previous episode may not be all that accurate. That would not be a surprise at all. So here's Darren staring at me again from the doorway. And here I just try to stay in the doorway so that he doesn't get a chance to get in my way. Again, searching these boxes even though I know I'm almost certainly not going to find anything useful. Alright, and that door is locked. So we've cleared this entire area here. Time to move on. Now I believe this is what I had hinted at earlier. Yeah, right here, I was opening the door and I heard some commotion. So we go over here to check it out. And it sounds to me like the Proctor is killing a zombie, and that turns out to be the case. Just go ahead and point that out, that yes, I was correct for once about something. Now, the Proctor, as far as I know, is undead as well, but for some reason or another, she's been known to go after the zombies, the other ones. So there's an arming cap, but we already both have really good ones, so I leave it behind. Those brushes right there, I've mentioned this before, you can use them to clean your armor. But beyond the aesthetic difference, it makes no difference. And here I was surprised, so I just ran straight through this zombie, using the two-handed sword as usual, and then I wanted Darren to get involved, and he did, which was great. Got the kill. Find an upgrade sphere right here, add it to our growing collection. And then those vambraces are not compatible with my gauntlets, nor are they compatible with what Darren is currently wearing, so I opt to just leave them behind. Find a map of the floor. Alright, so now it's time to find out about the Proctor. And there she is, right there. So, we blast her. My aim was a little off, hit her in the chest, it looked like, and then I hit her with the flat of my blade, which didn't help. Then I missed, and then I took a chance, went in there and got her with the one tap, the overhead to the skull. Always a very wonderful thing. And then I hear something from that direction, or at least I thought I heard something. And so we're looking at the Proctor sword, and it can be improved, and it is just a great sword in general. Not a literal great sword, but yes, you know what I mean. So we decide, you know what, let's go ahead and upgrade this thing. Alright, so here, obviously, we're crossing the gap. I could have sworn I heard something up here. But yeah, so now I stop, because now I'm convinced there's nothing there, so now I actually take the time to upgrade the Proctor sword. You see, it's quite nice. It could still be upgraded further, but quite nice. Alright, so we try the barrier trick, and it works. I mean, it will always work. It's just my execution was terrible up until that point. But again, the idea is you get, obviously, very close to the enemy. You look to one side, activate the barrier, snap back towards them. That'll knock them over. You cancel the barrier, and you go to town. As we know, the barrier is an expensive binding. It sucks that focus right down very quickly. So you don't want to have that barrier out for too long. So I think it's a really good idea. And I'm definitely going to practice more so that I can get a handle on it. So we grabbed a key in there, and that key is going to open what I call a closet to give us the executioner sword. So I go here and try this again. I do a bit of a sloppy job, but it was a success. Alright, so now that we've learned our new spell, we can move up. So now again, we have a new spell on the tree, but of course we don't have the prerequisites. So I decide, you know what? We'll go with Kinesis for now. But I've been told that if you decide to learn a different spell before that one is done, that the progress transfers over. I've been told that. I haven't been able to confirm it for myself, but I have no reason to doubt that information. Just putting that out there. So here we take a look at some of the weapons. The Bardiche is terrible. Sword is not very impressive. We've got the helmet situation under control. Warhammer isn't that great. So we decide we'll move on. Check this desk over here. And then after that, we can open up the closet for which we just got the key. We got to make sure we check this slightly hidden box here, and it does have a mail coif in it. We'll definitely put that on. And our encumbrance, of course, is ridiculous. So we unlock this closet door here, and we behold the executioner sword. And something comes over me. And I think, you know what? I think I want to give this to Darren. But then, of course, he's stuck outside of the door, and he's also trying to talk to me. So, you know, I spend a minute trying to remedy this door situation. So there, we finally accomplished that. And then I want to give this to Darren, but he's trying to talk to me, so we can't do it. So I just pick the option to shut him up the quickest. Then we look at his inventory, give him the executioner sword, and say, you know what, let's just see what he can do with it. Again, vambraces that are not compatible with what he's wearing, and I don't have any plate gauntlets for him. I'm just looking at the different weapons here. None of them seem to be very good. Alright, so back down the hall we go. And now we go into the area that is some sort of tailor, some kind of clothing manufacturing facility. Has its own separate shoe section and everything, which we'll get to momentarily. And we luckily find some really good male leggings, and we go ahead and upgrade them. And then we'll slap those on. Always nice when you get to that particular area and get those male leggings. And they were of a really good quality make. It's always hard to, you don't want to say quality because it's like well, maybe it is, the quality and then the condition. So maybe that is correct. But yeah, there's those two different factors to account for any particular piece of gear. I think haberdashery is the word I was looking for. This is like some kind of haberdashery. But I don't know if a haberdasher only sells clothes or if they make them or both. Because as usual, I am ill-informed, if not uninformed. Alright, so in here we look for these. Well, we find some more good cloth leggings, but we've already got that covered. And I decide, you know what, I'm going to give it to Darren anyway. Because I think the quality was slightly better than the ones he had. And we check this box over here, see more leggings. And then that completes our search of that particular part of this area. Alright, and here's where I begin my usual closing statements. And we'll do it right here. So this is where we're going to end this episode. Thank you as always for hanging out. I appreciate it very much. Please hit like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time.